Greetings of peace, love, and harmony. I am Mandy Samosi, and we will be discussing in my cute little Archer and Olive notebook. I have my outlines in, so if you see me looking down, that's why. I did have a setup video on my other channel of how I was going to use this, and I had like to-do list that I was going to use it for. Child, it's not used for that. I'm also known as Oshunbanke, and today we're going to talk about the river teaches self-reflection. And by the river, we mean Oshun, right? So a lot of us are familiar with the most famous Odu by Oshun, or about Oshun. And it talks about how Oshun was completely disrespected by all of the other male Rumale who came down to earth to prepare it for humans. And she was like, oh, y'all disrespecting me? Let me leave. And she left. And she went to go mind her business on the moon, as they say. Some say powdering her nose, looking in her mirror, blah, 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 right? And of course, everybody looks at that from a standpoint of like, oh, she was like on her self-care stuff, blah, blah, blah. Let me just look at myself. In truth, okay, Oshun was doing self-reflection work. And the mirror is merely a metaphor for that. Because in order for those people to be that disrespectful to her, it's like, let me just focus on myself for a bit, because it's really bothering me and my homegirls. There were no other women there at that time. No other women, Orisha. I'm talking about that old video, if y'all remember. She's like, it's really bothering me and my homegirls. So let me just mind my business for a second. I'm going to self-reflect on how I ended up in this situation, how I brought this to myself, and why I allowed them to get under my skin so much about it. Because in truth, we will never, or like we will always have moments in time and individuals who completely shade us, who completely treat us wrong, who completely do us dirty. We don't have to continue to try to be up under them and ask them this and ask them that, or will you see my worth now? Can you see my value now? We don't have to do that. We can just leave. After the first time, leave. Like, oh, you did this to me? Bye. Okay? So that is the essence of this Odu, right? Her knowing her worth, her saying hell no, her leaving, them going to God, the Most High, the Creator, and being like, yo, ain't nothing going on. And God looking like, well, where's Oshun? And they like, we ain't need her. And God was like, yes, you do. You can't do nothing without love. They're like, love? You can't do nothing without the sweet water, without fresh water, which is what Oshun represents. You can't do nothing without that. And, they went to her, they found her, they apologized. She said, don't ever let it happen again. Ever let it happen again. Right? And so that was her, because she could have been petty as heck had she not done the self-reflection work and been like, you know what? I don't care. I don't need to live down here. Y'all getting these ready for the humans. I ain't human. It don't help me or bother me none if this world don't get created. But she still decided to forgive and give, right? She did the work that allowed her to forgive and give abundantly. And we give thanks for her, right? And there's another story I want to get to before I get to the different phases and stages of the river. This is not based in Nigeria. I think it's Greece. That god narcissism is basically how narcissism got its name. But it was like the guy at the river, there was this Greek god or whatever. I said I was going to look this up before this video. My apologies. I know about Ifa, I know about Orisha. I don't know about all the Greek mythologies. My bad. So correct me in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe though if you do correct me. And so this dude, he was sitting at the river. He just kept looking at himself in the river, like looking at his reflection, staring at his reflection all day, every day. Then one day, he fell in that river and he died. And that's how narcissism was born. So when we go to the river and we do the self-reflection, it's not from a vanity standpoint. Like, I'm not looking in the mirror and be like, oh my goodness, I just love the way I look. No, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm being like, I need to self-reflect. What is it about do I even like what I see right now? Am I in love with the image? Like, I can look at my flaws, like my crooked teeth and the blah, 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 and the acne scars I had when I was a teenager. All of this stuff is still there. Have I embraced that fully? Why not? Right? Oshun's children, like I said in the first video, they're we tend to be extremely insecure. So how am I addressing those insecurities that I see on my physical so that I can then work on those insecurities that I see internally? Because it's not just about liking what you see. I can do a big overall and be like, I look good, and what about it? And internally, what am I not liking about myself? What can I change and shift about myself, right? And so water naturally reflects, which is what that narcissism guy understood. That's why he was there at the river so much time, just looking at himself physically at his face and not seeing himself for real though. So water helps you reflect. Water holds memories, right? Water is emotions. Water is abundant, it's life-giving. Water has no enemies. So water is all of these things, and we can call on and we can use water to assist us in our deeper self-reflection because it's naturally reflective, and two, it holds memories. So even the things that we forgot when we're doing these natural reflection things, because water holds memories, the things are going to come back to the surface. It's going to get there. It's going to be like, oh, wait a minute. That's another layer. Let it go. It's not to dwell. We don't self-reflect to dwell. Even good or bad things, do not dwell on it. Just like the river flows, when those things are coming up, you're looking at it to heal, to like learn from it, and then letting it go. Observe it. I see this, I feel it, and then letting it go. We're not dwelling. Good or bad, we do not dwell. Okay? Yeah, because I learned the hard way about that dwelling piece. Trust me. You do not want to dwell. So there are 5 stages of the river that I am identifying from my study of the river in Oshun for years. I want to say it was 3 years that I went to the river every single day consistently. And I did not stop. Every single day. I'll give myself grace and I'll say maybe it was 2 years, right? But I went there every day and I observed the river. There's sometimes the river will be raging after a rainstorm or something. Then after the rainstorm, that rage fades. It's calm, but it's still overflowing. Like the water's still overflowing. And then you see her natural flow, like, oh, okay, this is what the river usually looks like all the time. And, and then you get to this stream, like it's a little trickle. The river's still going, but it's just a little stream. And then it gets to this space, it's like low and murky. And you see all the dirt and filth, and it's like swampy-like. And all of the gunk and stuff that has come to the surface that needs to be removed, right? So these are the different phases that I could externalize and be like, oh, that's the river. But again, we internalize and be like, okay, I have parts of me that rage, right? That have a lot of anger. Can I self-reflect in those moments and deal with my anger? So I'm just going to break it down, these 5 ones, one more again, so that you can understand. Raging river, the calm but overflowing one, the steady flow / natural state one, that stream that just trickles on and you can kind of hear it and it sounds real cute in your ears and you're just like, oh, so calming. And then there's that low and murky one that you like, is the river finna dry up and why is it so dirty and swamp-like and all of this litter and trash that just got here and this junk. Shadow work, hints, 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 hints. But yes, those are the 5 stages. So let's think about our lives in those stages, right? Our emotional state in those stages. Because remember, water is emotions. So our emotional state in those stages. Water raging. Emotions raging. Anger. What is underneath the surface of that rage that we feel? Call on the water, reflect on yourself in that moment, be in it so that you can work through it and let it go. Envision that raging water, just letting it all go. Anger is something that, and when I say let it go, I don't mean it's not going to come back. Especially for those of us who struggle with anger, we know it can come up like that. And you was like, I was chilling and I just got real mad. What the hell? When I say let it go, I mean don't dwell in the anger, meaning don't start to create stories about the anger. Observe it. Observe it as it comes. Just observe it, right? Don't lean in deep like narcissists did. Just observe it. Don't let it consume you like that Greek god did. Just observe it. Like I see you anger. I feel you too. We want to feel it. We have got to feel it. And then we get this, once we deal with that anger, that rage, that's just crazy and roaring, we might get to this feeling where it's like, I'm calm, I'm cool. But there's like an overflowing / overwhelm that we might feel that's still there. Right? And even another way to look at this is like sometimes our cups are overflowing. And that's when we are in a position to give more. Right? When we're at this stage, maybe we alchemized our anger and we can do some things with it now. We can move with it. We can maybe help somebody with something, help ourselves with a task that we had been preventing ourselves from doing. There's motion now because it's not that crazy rage that was just destructive. It's calm, but it's overflowing. I can do something with it. I can work with it. But be very careful about overwhelm here. If we did the work in the anger stage and we observed it and we're observing now, our overflowing won't feel like overwhelm, but we have got to observe. We've got to. And then our natural state, our steady flow. It's like our day-to-day selves, they can be easily like when we're in the state to not even self-reflect because we feel, oh, this is it. I feel good. How you doing? I'm good, girl. How you doing? But it's like, do the work, even in the stage, even in this natural state, your natural flow, do the work. Observe yourself, womb work at every stage, do the work. And then after this, it may be that stream that's trickling on by. Some of us times when we're having our cycle, some of us are, if we have our cycle, we may naturally feel this happening where it's like, you know what? It's time for me to just take things a bit easy right now. It's time for me to just be a bit easy. Be a bit easy. Let me just take things easy right now. I'm going to observe what's coming up. Maybe I'm not going to do nothing. I don't have too much to give. I just need to observe. And after this, like another stage, and I'm not saying you're going to reach these stages bit by bit by bit. You can get from raging to low and murky, like I'm about to talk about now. Low and murky is that swamp-like shadow work is here. And I mean that deep shadow work. And shadow work is not necessarily just bad things. It's those things that you forgot about. that had to just come to the surface because you had been doing all that work. It has removed some stuff. And now that all that stuff is moved out the way, and now you see, oh my God, this is what's there. This is what was underneath my surface all this time. Work. Remove it. What needs to be removed. Release what needs to be released. And let it go. Throw away what needs to be thrown away. A lot of times when we go through our closet, we're like, I don't want to give this away, blah, blah, blah. It prolongs the process. Because you think about, oh, I want to give this to such and such, but I ain't going to see them till then, so I can just wait before I go through my closet. Throw it away. If you don't want to throw it away, go to Goodwill. But stop lying to yourself so that this low and murky stage doesn't continue to look that filthy every time things get low and murky. And if you ever been to the river during a low and murky stage and you saw that filth and that litter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so these 5 states can also, I talk about how they can be talked about emotions, but remember, Oshun is also about abundance and flow is deeply aligned and connected to currency. So these stages could also affect what we see our money like. I'm gonna be very real. I'm at the low and murky stage. In fact, I got a donation thingy in my thingamabob, my description. Help. If you can't help, subscribe. It hurts you nothing. Like, comment. It helps the algorithm. Helps me. We can have this raging water, like raging stuff, like maybe funds are just coming at us. Maybe there's just a lot of chaos happening in our finances, where it's like things are coming and going like chaotically, like what is going on with me? I have no idea what's happening with my finances. I don't know what's coming, what's going. And then there's time where it's like it's just a steady overflow coming. It's like, okay, cool. No, what is coming? There's a lot of abundance. I'm very grateful. I can give some away. I can donate. Woohoo! And then we have our steady natural flows. Like, all right, yeah, that's what I'm used to. Then it's like low stream. Like, get my attention. What's happening with my money? And it's low and murky. It's like, oh God, I don't know when my next check gonna come. I've become one of the 600,000 Black women that's lost their jobs. What do I do? Type of thing. So it's like these are the types of these 5 stages. Oshun is the number 5. If you saw what I did there, if you know what you know. These 5 stages, if you learn to look at the river like that, if you learn to look at life like that, it could just help you. All right? So next week, the podcast begins. I'm doing a deep dive to the lessons that the river teaches you. I went to the river every single day for 3 years, and I learned these things, so you don't have to. I joined the cult for 7 years, and I learned these things, and I did that, so you don't have to. Okay? Grace is learning from others. So I pray that anytime I do this, you guys are learning from me. Learning from my flaws, my faults. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm on a journey just like everyone else is. Number 1. Number 2, I should have probably did this in the beginning, but I will be intentional about doing this when I start the podcast series. It'll be here on YouTube. When I start that, I'm going to be intentional about naming like my teachers and being grateful for those who taught me before. As I started on this journey, who I learned something from. And there may be some names that I don't want to call on, but I learned about Ibaz is that like sometimes even if, right now I'll say this, it's not safe for me to call on names publicly, some names publicly. But I will be sure to at least do my Ibaz before, pay homage, what Ibaz mean, before I join in. What I just shared are things that I really learned on my own. And I just saw the patterns on my own. But when I get to the nitty gritty of it, it'll still be things I learned on my own, actually. But I'm still going to pay my respects, okay? In this tradition, it's important to always pay respect to those who you learn from, who were there with you on your journey. So, yeah. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, please. Mwah.